Hi, I'm James and welcome to the latest video, which is an unboxing of Battlefront's World War III, the complete starter set. It's been out a little while now, but I've just acquired it courtesy of my wonderful partner Chris. She's bought me this. Now, it's interesting that they seem to have dropped the Team Yankee name from it, which is a bit of a shame. Used the same artwork, but they've taken that off. So, lovely evocative looking box cover. Let's have a look what we've got on the back. Talks about what you've got in it. Try and get so you can see more of it. Gives you a list. You get an American and a Soviet force, a rulebook, quick start guide, unit cards and dice. You've got 3 M1s, 2 M60s and 2 Bradleys. And the Soviets have got 4 T-80s, 3 T-64s and 2 BMP-3s. So it's a fair bit in there. So let's actually have a look at what we've got. Let's start by opening the plastic. Interestingly, they still use the www.team-yankee.com, so they are still using the branding, just not actually on the boxed set anymore. We'll get rid of that plastic. Let's have a look what we've got. So we'll open it up. Okay, it's certainly a packed box. Let's have a look what we've got. Let's start with this. Okay, this is going to be a completely random order, just however they've packed it. So we've got a couple of the BMP-3s. Okay. Vehicle that was really outside the time frame of the original game because it came into service in 1987. Simple enough looking model, doesn't seem to have any complex bits with that. Open and closed hatches. Yeah, nice and straightforward. Okay, we've got, I think, a slightly odd choice then. We've got 2 M60 tanks. Now, the M60, the kit, it will let you build either the A1 or the A3 version. There's 2 different guns for that. You've got assorted hatches at the top. You've got the standard M60 turret. It's a cupola with the machine gun, or you've got the Israeli low-profile cupolas. So you've got a bit of variety in there. And there's a few spare parts as well. Yeah, nothing sort of odd about that. I've built these before, and I'll put a link in the description to that. It's one of my very early videos, so it's not particularly good quality. We've got 2 Bradleys then. Now these could be the M2 or the M3. They're effectively identical in this scale. You've got the option to upgrade them to the A2 version. Don't know which version I'll build yet with that, but yeah, they look a nice, simple enough model. I know there were some issues with some of the early ones that were produced, with side skirts weren't fitting perfectly, but we'll have to see if this is the correct version or not for that. So what have we got next? Last green one. They've colour coded the models, which does help to a degree. We've got the Abrams tank, and we've got 3 of those. Now on there you've got plenty of variants. You've got the standard M1, you've got the M1A1 with the upgraded 120mm smoothbore, or you can actually have the IPM1 or M1IP, depending on which nomenclature you want to use, which was the interim model between the 2. So yeah, I've built these before. They're quite easy to build, lots and lots of options with it, and particularly useful. There's some spare parts on there as well, which is always appreciated. It's always nice to get a few spares. And one touch I like is the fact that you have extra machine guns. They give, rather than just having the 1 M2 and the 1 M240, they've actually given you 2 of each to allow for people breaking them. Yep, that's somebody who knows what I'm like when I assemble model kits. So let's see what we've got next. So into the back into the Soviet ones, we've got 4 sprues of this. Now this is the T80U. There are various versions of the T80. just having a look at it. Yeah, it looks a nice model. It seems nice and simplistic, which is always good. I like simple. Again, a very nice touch as standard on Battlefront. You've got the mine plows on each sprue, so you get plenty of those spare. It's always better to have spare. Looks like it goes together fairly easily. I can't see any issues with that one. We'll have a look at that because it's obviously a fairly new model, just like the BMP3. Let's have a look at the last of the tanks. This is the oldest of the models in the kit, which I think was 2017. Yeah, 2017. It's the T64. Now I had a look at this as to which version it is, because there were quite a few variants. If it's firing the anti-tank missile, it's the T64B. If it's not doing that, it's a T64A. In both cases, it's the mod 1981 version because it's got the side skirts rather than the gill armour which was fitted on the early ones, which fell apart. Again, you've got multiple hatch options, and you've got spare machine guns, which is always going to be useful. So yeah, we've got that. That's looking quite good. We've got some dice. You can never have too many dice. Red for Russian, blue for American. We've got another little bag now, which looks jam-packed with command figures. Let's have a look what we've got. So we've got 2 resin, 2 plastic. So the resin ones are the American crew, and you've got 2, I assume they're identical sprues. Yeah, same code and same position. So you've got 12 American commanders there. Okay, possibly excessive given the number of vehicles. You're not going to use all of those, but always useful to have spares. And then we've got these ones. Let's have a look. So those 3 are definitely Russian. I'm just looking at the other 3. It's not particularly easy. They're Russian as well. You can tell by the helmet, or at least Warsaw Pact. So again, I've got 12 of those. I know a lot of players will tend to just use 1 in each command vehicle, but yeah, it's nice to see we've got plenty of spares there. So what else do we have? Perhaps we should have looked at this first because it says start here. This is the introductory book. So we have the organisations for Combat Team Zulu. I know there was concern when this came out that a lot of the players had was that the vehicles in the set wouldn't be a legal force. So they've actually introduced one which actually will address that. For the American Team Zulu, gives you your first army. It says you got the M1 HQ with the IPM1, a platoon of two M1s and 2 M60s. You can obviously have a bit of a play around with that and change some of the vehicle types, but yeah, that's fairly straightforward. And you've also then got 2 M3A2 Bradleys. Okay, and then you've got each of the individual unit cards there. It's worth noting it does give you the variation of the M3 or the M3A2 Bradley. For the Abrams, it looks like it's only given the M1, but there's a note there, you can actually use the IPM1, which has got slightly better armour. Okay, so you've got that. Assembly instructions. It does talk about the alternative options, building it as the different versions, and a note to go visit the website. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, they're straightforward. Then we come on to the Soviet ones. We've got a breakthrough tank battalion, which has got 1 TAT as a headquarters, a company of 3 TATs, a company of 3 T64s, and a BMP recce platoon of 2 BMP3 scouts. Okay, again, it gives you all of the different options there. One thing I've spotted, which I think is possibly slightly something I'd change, it talks about fitting 3 of the tanks of either type with mine clearing devices. I think realistically that should be 1 per 3 that you have, but that's a fairly minor point. So we have the details of that, and again we have the assembly instructions. It doesn't mention any alternative ones. I don't think there are any alternatives with this. It just comes down to whether you want open or closed hatches. Okay, what have we got? What's next? So going into the Americans gives you the details for what you can do, that what you can build up there. Interestingly, they've now seemed to have changed from the fictional units that we used in Team Yankee to genuine units. You've got the 1st Armoured Division, the 82nd Airborne, the 9th Motorised, and the 2nd Marine. That's quite a nice variety there, because you've got an Armoured Division, you've got an Airborne, you've got the experimental 9th Motorised and the 2nd Marine, and the Armoured Division will double as the infantry. So you've got pretty much every single variant you'd expect there. Okay, so yeah, that's nice and straightforward. It suggests adding the Humvees, M109 artillery and the Apache. Okay, then on the Soviet one, gives details for 2nd Guards Tank Army, for the 94th Guards Motor Rifle Division, 7th Guards Tank Division, 18th Guards Motor Rifle Division, and Yuri Volkov's Tank Battalion. Okay, so that's very straightforward. Notes in there as well, you can actually do an air assault battalion in the list of units you can make. And then they've suggested using a BRDM-2, the Frogfoot or the Hind, so there's a few different versions there. And it talks about their army deals where you can buy a full starter force. Find it very interesting on those. They haven't mixed the tanks in with them. It's an interesting little bit. It does bring up one of my big issues with Team Yankee, the lack of infantry. That's always a bit of an issue as far as I'm concerned. None of these sets actually include infantry. It's one reason why I would say the Hit the Beach starter set that I reviewed a little while ago is probably the best value for money, because you actually get 3 full platoons in that. So, okay, we've got that. What else do we have? We haven't quite finished yet. We've got the rule book. Okay, I quite like the way Battlefront give this away with all the box sets. It looks very similar to the original Team Yankee one I've got. I'm not sure what the changes are, but it does talk through the scenario or the book of Team Yankee, and then goes into how to play it. Looks very, like I said, it's the same illustrations. There's probably just little minor detail changes. Always useful to have spare ones of these, because at the end of the day it actually gives you more rules that you can refer to. You can even give, if you've got multiple ones, give one away to a friend to give them a chance to read it, things like that. Small book as well is ideal for carrying in your bag with your army. So yeah, quite like that. What else have we got then? We've got the cards. So these look like they're sealed in. Let's see what we've got. So we've got the Bradley, M3 Bradley Scout section, M60 Patton. I know there's always a big debate as to whether the M60 was technically a Patton or not. It generally tends to get included, but there are a lot of purists who say it wasn't. So we've got the M1 and the IPM1, and then the headquarters. Okay, a bit unlike the Hit the Beach set. I quite like the Hit the Beach set where it gave you different levels of Sherman. So you actually had veteran and ordinary. This is a bit more restricted. So we've got then the Soviets. We've got a BMP-3 Scout. We've got the T-80. Got the T-64, and then we've got the Tank Battalion card. On the back it gives you the statistics. On the headquarters ones it basically gives you the breakdown of all the different units that you can have. That's quite interesting, because when you look at this, it says you have to have the battalion headquarters, which is 1 tank, and then 2 to 3 tank companies, but it says they have to be T-80, so technically that doesn't actually match what we have in the box set. Does it have the scout? It doesn't have the... Yes, it does have a recon platoon of BMP3, so that's fine. So we've got the T64 card, and so then it just gives you the breakdown with all the rules and so on. I haven't re-gamed much Team Yankee, so I'm not an expert on these. I am probably going to do a video or two just to have a go with the box set and just see how well the rules work, just for completion. So yeah, they're all then the same approach. So a quick look at the American combat team, and again, technically it doesn't actually allow for a legal formation using this, because it's an armoured company HQ and 2 to 3 Abrams tank platoons. It does have the Bradley Scout section in there again, so okay, bit of an issue again, but we can always use the ones that are in the rule book, obviously. And one touch I did like, I know people have complained that there are things missing from the box set, particularly markers. I think they have missed what it has on here. You actually have the objectives and tokens on the inside of the box to be cut out. You've got the American on one side and the Soviet on the other. So yeah, if you're new to gaming, that isn't a bad set. I think the only thing that really is missing off that is a ruler. That could have been an easy one to include. I quite like the little Games Workshop 12-inch plastic ones for that. They do the job nicely. But rulers are not exactly the hardest thing to go out and find, or a tape measure. So yeah, there's a good starting point there. Could have added in things like some card terrain, like they did in some of the other games that they've done. But as a starter set, it's good value for money. There's a fair bit in it, and yeah, it's a good place to start somebody off gaming. Hope that was useful to you, and I'll see you soon for another video.